day 11. Day 11. And today we're going to talk about link text and best practices, so to speak. And I'm going to show you some things that I really, really don't want you to do. And today you'll notice I've got my blue light blockers on. I've got a bit of a headache and I should probably be wearing them more often. So link text. This applies to presentations, applies to websites, web copy, and it applies to my cat, who has just entered the room to speak to all of us. When you are putting URLs in your presentations, there are some things that you shouldn't do, but you're going to get a lot of pushback on it. So let me show you what I mean. Okay. Say you have a slide that has a list of resources, or, you just need to put the copy in so that people then can go visit it when they have the handout. Sometimes you'll have a whole long list of links and you'll be presenting in a room. And this is what I always ask my presenter. How well can they read that text? They are not going to sit there and copy that link down. No one's going to sit there and copy that link down. That's terrible. And what's even crazier is what happens if you pass this presentation out and it's being read by a screen reader. Oh my God, it's going to announce that long URL exactly as it's typed. So why are these? Some of these are obviously bad ideas, but the first one says to access 8Shapes color contrast checker, which is awesome, by the way, click here. Now let's talk about the words click here. And I might have already mentioned it in another video I did. It's under the You're Biased video. You can go ahead and visit that now if you want to. Great video. It's a little weird, not gonna lie. But what we talk about there and what I'm going to tell you now is the words click here are not completely inclusive. That denotes that you've got a little bit of mouse bias. Your click here are words that are kind of this old pattern that we used to do on desktops, and you can't click on tablets. You don't click on phones, you tap. So, well, then we could say tap here maybe. And no, we don't say tap here. Because if you have a long list, if you have a whole bunch of links on a page, whether it's web or in here in presentation land, a screen reader is going to announce them. Like, let's say I had a couple of these and they went to different places. One goes to Amazon for some fun shopping. But what the screen reader will do in certain instances, especially for the web, is it will read it as link, click here, link, click here, link, click here. I don't know what kind of link you're going to. That's kind of crazy, right? So I want everyone to please, wait, no, this is important enough for full screen. I want everyone to promise me that you are going to start thinking a little harder and just don't ever use the words click here, period. Not as a link. Don't even use it in your text. There are other ways of saying this, okay? How? Okay, well, instead of click here, we can say access the 8Shapes color contrast checker. And the link is the 8Shapes color contrast checker. Automatically, it's a lot more contextual and descriptive. And if this were a website, it would read the link 8Shapes color contrast checker. You're not using the words click or tap. You are actually using a full-on sentence like a grown-up. It's awesome. I highly recommend. 5 stars. Okay, let's talk about long ass links like this. This thing is a whole paragraph and it's just one link. This is actually a link for that color contrast checker with pre-filled colors. Like if you wanted to send somebody to this place with all of your brand colors pre-populated, you can do that. But look at the length of this thing. Not only is it a problem for people having to listen to this when a screen reader announces it, not only is it a problem when you put this up on screen in a conference room and people are trying to copy it, they're like, just I'll ask for someone to email me the link later is what they think. Put a QR code on screen. Like QR codes, remember those? They were a thing a long time ago, and then they kind of fizzled out because, I mean, we couldn't really think of sustainable ways of using them, but this is where a QR code is going to be fantastic. Now that so many people have smartphones and that the cameras automatically read QR codes, you're in a conference and you're giving like a big live on stage thing, talk, and you have a link and you want to send them somewhere, let the people pick up their phones and aim it at the screen, and that QR code will take them there. It will be so nice. Now, this is where you're going to get a lot of pushback. But, when I send this out, people can't copy down the link from this, and they don't need to copy down the link. It's a QR code. Other things that you could do. Let's talk about this example. More often than not, I've seen QR code, or not QR codes, links in sources or reference or footers or stuff like that. And they can be long. And it's not so bad, right? For print, they would say, oh, well, I don't do that. I would say source is the 8 shapes color contrast checker and some fancy formatting for proper APA style reference, footnote, whatever. I don't know. I don't remember any of that stuff. But okay, so that's not bad. So for print, it's not bad. And then there's a full link. So it works-ish, but there's a better way. And if you've watched a previous video in the series about the magical 3-in-1 deck, this is where you can really solve a lot of horrible, ugly link problems. Okay? For your sources, don't put them on screen. Or you can, and they can be so tiny, and no one cares, because what you're going to do is this. Your notes page is going to be your handout or your takeaway or whatever. Let me show you what I mean. So if I go, so instead of doing it this way, we format the slide like this. You have a resource, you have a big screenshot of what that resource looks like. Oh, that's great. But how do I get there? Well, the handout I'm going to email, or the one that's printed, or what have you. If I go to the notes page, it has a picture of the slide. It has some supporting text. You could even put the QR code here and then keep the source there with the big long URL. That's great. That's a handout. So in that handout PDF, that could be an interactive link that people can just click on. If you forget to make it interactive when you export it and those links don't go through, then put the QR code there with it. There are so many options and so many ways to get around all of these hideous, ugly link lists and horribly long URLs on your slide. Just do it a different way. Okay? And if you want to know where I get my QR codes, there's a bunch of services online and they end up being freemium, and it makes me angry because you get your QR code and then it's like too later, oh well, you need to pay to make more and whatever. But there is a great place, and I just rebookmarked it because I accidentally deleted it. There is a great place called Flowcode. It's free forever for your basic QR codes. You could pay to make them all fancy and colorful and like look like medallions and stuff like that. But I'm getting a lot of screen glare now. But it's really great. It's where I get all my QR codes now. It's so simple, and then you can download them. You can download even in the free account. Download your QR codes as PNGs or SVGs or what have you, and it's free. So that's just my quick tip today about avoiding really heinous link text. Push back on people when they push back. Give them options and tell them why this is so much more accessible for everybody. Accessible, inclusive, just not ugly. And, hopefully you'll win a few battles there. So happy day 11. Happy day 11. Happy day 11. And like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.